Hey everybody, and welcome back to another build. So I decided to drop the shadow builds for a little bit, and I decided to go for a bone spear build because it has been a lot of fun. The damage is insane. One-shotting elites is crazy. 2 or 3 shotting the bosses in the dungeons for nightmare dungeons has been absolutely insane. I'm level 81. I'm generally doing dungeons where I'm facing mobs at least 10 levels above me because they removed the cap. So it used to be 3 levels above you was 25%. Anything above that was kind of basically worthless to do. Now it's diminishing returns, but 10 levels above you is roughly about 35% XP increase. So I generally like to do it where the mobs are about 10 or so levels above me, just for that nice experience increase. However, let's get into the build real quick. So first and foremost, we're going to go over the gear, then we'll go over the abilities, finally the Paragon, and then I'm going to just run through the dungeon and show you probably parts of it, not the whole thing, because I don't want to make you just sit through me playing just a dungeon. You know what I mean? Anyways, so first we need here. Deathless Visage. You don't need this. You don't. It's a really good quality of life, and it's a really nice, I guess, damage increase, but it's not absolutely necessary. So you could go with any other aspect if you don't have this. However, this has dropped for me 4 times since level about 73, and I'm 81. So they are fairly common. You might already have one in your stash. Just check, and good to go. The chest. I'm actually planning to change the chest with Disobedience. To get the armor moved onto the chest so I can run with the Temerity legs, which I have 2 or 3 of those in my stash as well. The barrier from this chest it's good, but it's only against elites, while the Temerity legs will give it to you all the time. So I feel like that would be a better fit. So that is my plans in the future. However, I haven't had a chest drop that has good max life. As you can see, these legs have 849. So I'm trying to get a chest that is somewhere in the general vicinity of that, so I don't take a huge like hit to my hit points. So that will be changing in the future. So if you have a good chest with a bunch of life, throw the armor aspect on that and use the Temerity legs if you have them. For the gloves, I put the corpse tendrils on here because I have ossified essence on the amulet, because from what I've been seeing and reading about it is, even though it looks like it's an additive for ossified essence, it's actually multiplicative, so it's actually worth more than corpse tendrils. So I put corpse tendrils on the gloves. Try to get lucky hit will gain you has a chance to restore primary resource. It's going to make going through a lot easier, and that paired with the ring over here makes it so you're constantly gaining resources, and you have less time where you're having to either use corpse explosion to get essence back or use your bone splinters to get essence back. For the boots, I actually went with the penitent greaves because if they actually stack on top of you, you're going to do increased damage to them, because they're going to be chilled. As soon as they touch you, they're going to be within this patch of ice on the ground, and they're going to be chilled, and you're going to do just 10% increased damage to them for free. Also, because we are the slowest class in the game, this gives between, well, for me, 15.8 to 26.2% movement speed. I got a really low roll, so I'm looking out for a better pair than what I currently have for that. But when you evade, you're going to get a 75% movement speed increase. Look at this. So we're going to just start over here, evade, and you are zooming. It only lasts for a second, but it's better than our current normal movement speed. So down onto the weapon. This is where you're going to put your bone spear aspect. Try to get the highest roll possible. I only have a 205. I'm looking for that sweet 225 because it's going to massively increase my damage, way more than it's currently at. Also, I'm looking for a better weapon because I don't like that it has damage to close enemies, because generally you don't want to be close to enemies. So I'm also on the lookout for a new weapon that is in the 800 plus item level range that has better rolls on it. And I have an aspect already waiting for it. So once I get the new weapon, it's going to go on there and it's going to be better. It's about equivalent to what this one is. I still don't have a perfect rolled one, but we're waiting on that. Again, ossified essence on your amulet. I got lucky on my reroll on this amulet and actually got +3 to Death's Reach, which is damage to enemies that are at a distance. which you always want enemies at a distance because you're playing Bone Spear, which you don't want to be up in their face because they're going to smack you, and you're a Necromancer. You're not the tankiest class in the game. For this is, I would say, one of the most necessary pieces besides Ossified Essence, Corpse Tendrils, and the Bone Spear aspects, because this generates you your essence back. This paired with the one on the gloves basically equates to about a 15% chance to just get essence back for free. And essence back for free is huge with this build because you're constantly draining through it, and this is going to keep your uptime of moving through the dungeon a lot better. Final piece I got was actually Mother's Embrace. You can go with the aspect that actually makes it so whenever you crowd control an enemy, it'll give you 4 essence back. That stacks with all the different enemies. So if you crowd control a bunch of enemies at once, you're going to get a bunch of essence back. It's nice. The highest I've gotten was a 1 out of 4 on, I want to say, like 5 different rings. So I was like, this kind of sucks. So I went with the Mother's Embrace because I'm constantly hitting, not constantly, but most of the time I'm hitting 5 or more mobs. So I get a chunk of Bone Spear's cost back for free. We're going to sacrifice our skirmishers because it gives you crit chance. You're going to sacrifice the mages because it gives you maximum essence, which you need a lot of maximum essence in this build. And finally, golems, you're going to sacrifice iron for the crit damage. All right, abilities. Let's make this big so you can see. We're obviously taking Bone Splinters all the way to Acolyte's Bone Splinters, so that when you hit the same enemy 3 times, you're going to 8% crit chance. Now, that's not on that enemy specifically, but any enemy. So if you hit any enemy 3 times with Bone Splinters, you're going to have an 8% increased crit chance for 4 seconds for all enemies that you hit. So very nice to do is to weave that into your rotation, especially when you have a pack of mobs that is not dying as quickly, and especially at the higher tier Nightmare dungeons where you're not one-shotting the elites as quickly, and some of the more tanky ones are going to take a little bit more to kill, so you're going to make sure you have a higher crit chance. Down here, we're going to go for Unliving Energy to increase our maximum essence by 9. We're going to go for Imperfectly Balanced, so we increase our damage by 15%. Bone Spear down to Paranormal Bone Spear so that we can increase its critical strike chance by 5%. And Hewed Flesh because we need to generate corpses for Corpse Tendrils and Corpse Explosion. So Blood Mist is going to be your get out of jail free card. If you get CC'd and you're in a bind and you know that you're about to die, pop that, move out of the fight. You can pop potions while in Blood Mist. So before you even come out of Blood Mist, you can be at full health, which is really nice. Then when you do come out, you can pop Corpse Tendrils to pull everything together and then start firing Bone Spears into them to keep them dead and you alive. Corpse Explosion we're only taking to get the essence back whenever you consume a corpse from Grim Harvest, which is 6 essence per. I'm currently sitting on a little over 200 essence, so it takes a lot of corpses for Grim Harvest Corpse Explosion to get you your essence back, but it does definitely help. But the biggest thing is Fueled by Death. Fueled by Death will increase your damage by 9% for 6 seconds after popping a Corpse Explosion. So one of the best ways to start opening, you shoot out a Bone Spear. I'll show you this whenever we're running, but you shoot out a Bone Spear. You pop Corpse Tendrils because it doesn't consume a corpse, it just grips them to the corpse. Then you pop Corpse Explosion to consume that corpse, which gets you your 9% damage increase, also getting the crit bonus from Corpse Tendrils. Anyways, down here we're going to go for Death's Embrace, just so if they do get on you, you take a bit less damage and still do a little bit extra damage to them. Here's that Death's Reach that I got on my amulet. So instead of being a 12% damage increase to distance enemies, it's 24. Absolutely insane damage increase with this one ability right here. Moving on down here, we're going to go Corpse Tendrils for Plague Corpse Tendrils to make them vulnerable. Now, Corpse Tendrils, AoE grips everything together, and it stuns them. And with this, it makes them vulnerable on top of the stun, which means they're going to take a lot more damage. And let's see, down here, we're going to go for Serration. You get 0.9% increased critical strike chance for each 10 essence you have upon cast. The more essence you have, the more critical strike chance you have, and you want to keep your essence as capped as you can. Compound Fracture, after critically striking 10 times, you get 15% damage increase. You're constantly critting, so this is going to be up all the damn time. Finally, you want Avulsion for increase critical strike chance to vulnerable mobs. So these things kind of synergize together to just give you that increased damage. Plus, they're generally going to be at a distance from you, so you're going to get that increased damage. Everything just kind of synergizes together to just really make the build flow and work. I grabbed 3 points into Inspiring Leader for the 12% increased attack speed. You're normally healthy, so you're almost always going to have this up. So you're sacrificing your minions, so you're just going to take Standalone and Memento Mori to increase the bonus from your sacrifices and your damage reduction. Bone Storm with Supreme Bone Storm for the 20% increased crit chance. Bone Storm is amazing. It does absolutely insane damage. And at the same time, you have the 15% damage reduction from Prime Bone Storm, and then Supreme's going to give you that crit chance. And finally, our last point will be Ossified Essence. For every point of essence you have above 50 upon cast, your bonus skills are going to do 1% increased damage. Now, back to our amulet. Also increases the critical strike damage, so you get increased damage plus increased critical strike damage, which for the testing people have done is multiplicative and not additive, which is why we put it onto the amulet. All right, for the Paragon, let's dive into this. This is where everybody wants me to have a build write-up, which I'm going to make one. I'm going to put it in the description so you can just kind of follow along there. However, here's what we're doing. We're going up to the right so we can grab Prime. I put in Sacrificial because you're sacrificing your minion, so you might as well get damage increase from it. So you get 10% damage from that, and you get the scaling damage based on level of glyph. Mine's currently at 5.4% damage just for having the glyph in. Plus you gain 108% bonus damage to all magic nodes, which are these two. So 20% damage here, 200 armor here. So damage and survivability going up. Those are good. So I went up to the right, and first we grabbed Bone Graft. Now, Bone Graft is amazing if you're running any bone build. This should be your very first board on any bone build. So if you're running either Bone Spear or Bone Spirit, Bone Graft should be the very first board you take after, the first board. I grabbed Entomb for the critical strike chance with bone skills. Reinvigorate for maximum essence, because as you saw with Ossified Essence, the more essence we have, the more damage we're going to do. Plus 2 essence on kill. Now, if you don't have the ring from earlier, that gives you a lucky hit chance to get essence back whenever you hit vulnerable enemies, you can grab essence on kill here and essence on kill here, and they kind of help out with it a little bit, so you're not having to spam basic attacks quite as much or spam corpse explosions to get essence back. So if you don't have the ring, these 2 points do help out quite a bit, because when you kill a huge pack with Bone Spear, you're going to get quite a bit of essence back just for free. Calcified for increased critical strike damage with bone skills. Up here we go for Tenacity for that max life, plus a little bit of armor. And since we hit the bonus on it, we get another 4% max life. So 12% max life just from this one node right here. Grab these nodes around, you're going to get max life and armor, just a little more survivability, because as you go up through the higher nightmare tiers, 1 hit could damn near kill you. 2 hits, you're dead. So you kind of want to have just a little bit of survivability, so it makes it feel a little bit more comfortable. Move on up to the glyph up here. We grabbed Gravekeeper, which grants a more bonus damage to rare nodes. However, it also gets 19% bonus damage to bone skills. Intelligence, which gets you just more raw damage in the first place, plus damage for corpses that are close to you. So for every corpse that's close to you, up to 6, you're going to get 2% increased damage. Now that 2% is going to stack until it reaches 6, where then you're going to get 12% increased damage. That's huge. It's so much damage for free. I'm going to go over here and grab Erudite, I think. Yeah. You don't really need to worry about the resistance. However, it gives you 19 intelligence for 1 node. It's kind of nice. Up here, we're going to grab Shaper of Bone, because bone skill damage. That's just, and it gets increased because of you have the glyph here. So it's just going to, as this glyph gets leveled up more and more and more, which mine's currently at 15, I'm eventually going to push it up into the 20s. So that will make Shaper of Bone even stronger. Now this board, it is the Bloodbath board. You're going to want to rotate it so you have your glyph socket somewhere close to the entrance. And the reason being is I'm only coming in here for a really close, easy to access glyph, which is Essence. Increase critical strike damage with core skills. Bone Spear is a core skill, and critical strikes deal increased damage to enemies that are not healthy. Now, this is in case you don't actually one-shot a mob and they're low health, you're going to do 22% increased damage to finish them off. It just kind of synergizes really nice. So if you don't one-shot them, you two-shot them instead. And then the final board is Scent of Death. And as you can see, I'm currently working on this board, but first thing I did is I come down to Corrective. And instead of going straight down, it's better to spend the extra points because you're getting critical strike damage with these 3 nodes here instead of just taking this 1 node. You can pick and choose. If you're close to getting a point that you want, you could unallocate these, allocate a point there, and change it up later, but I figure it's just better to have the critical strike damage in the first place. Grab Preservation because armor and intelligence. The next glyph I'm going to be getting is called, where is it? Imbiber? I don't think it's Imbiber. Anyways, it makes it so that for every 5 willpower you purchase in range, you deal whatever percentage increased damage while healthy. It scales as you get more and more. Also, as you level it up, it's going to get higher and higher. So that's going in here. You're going to want to go over and grab Death Mark because you're going to, again, damage to injured enemies is very, very nice to have because if you don't one-shot them, this is going to kill them faster. Come down. I would suggest coming down the left instead of the right. Up to you, but that's what I did whenever I was building this beforehand. Actually, so it wasn't until recently that I decided to put this in. So I'd actually already gotten down to Scent to Death and it was really nice, but this just vastly increased my damage, so I decided to redistribute my boards a little bit. So come on down to Scent to Death, and then you're going to want to come down and grab Ruin. Now where you go after that, I have not planned out any further than this point. So that I will probably release in a future video. Also, we're going to find out on Thursday. Hopefully we'll actually find out the release date of the season, and then I can start working on potential seasonal start guides of what builds you could potentially run. I'm thinking of 2 or 3 different leveling builds. Hopefully Bone Spear's in there. Blight is going to be in there. And I was thinking of maybe putting in a Bloodlance build, but I'm not sure if I can get one working properly that's not going to feel like absolute crap. So we'll see about that. And hopefully they reveal what sets we're going to get, because that's going to completely change the dynamic, and all the builds that people have been running up to this point are probably going to become null and void because sets are going to completely just change what builds are viable. So these builds that people are currently running are not going to probably be as viable as a set build because sets are just that strong as they have been in the previous Diablos. So again, I will be making builds on those as they come out and keep all of you updated. So let's get into a little bit of this dungeon. It's a fresh, brand new dungeon. Remember, I'm 81. The mob should be like, I don't know, low to mid 90s, somewhere in that range. And let's see, they're 92. And you just kind of one-shot most things. See if we can get some elites up in here. There we go. Here's some elites. So you want to AoE gripped up. He just kind of died too fast. Okay, well. Oh, hey, you got a ring. Could it be? Could it be the fabled ring? Can I actually make? Hold on. You guys might have gotten to see the ring I've been waiting for literally eons. It's another Mother's Embrace. This game does not want me playing minions. I really, really, really wanted this to be the Mendelin ring. Sad face. Anyways, it is what it is, I suppose. Again, I've gotten like 4 or 5 of those now. It's probably my either my most dropped unique or second most dropped unique behind the what's this called? Deathless Visage. All right, let's go check out the damage on a boss. Now this is where this build really shines. I don't even have Bone Storm up. Okay. Build. I hope you guys enjoy. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you again in the next video. Happy hunting.